Hello, 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 and welcome. Welcome again. This is Menacole O'Sullivan, and my computer is playing some tricks, but I'm gonna actually now we're good. Everything looks good. So I'm gonna be continuing the reading from yesterday. We started on the 7 habits of highly effective teens. I believe that a lot of kids who are not yet teens will still benefit from it. My daughter is not yet a teen, but she thinks she wants to be a teen and acts like a teen. So actually, she finds it quite fascinating, this book. So I'm reading it for the benefit of everyone because I do believe that there are principles in here that can benefit adults and children and teens. So if you're open-minded, let's go. This chapter is on paradigms and principles. What you see is what you get. And we're going to do a part one because it appears to be a long chapter. So I'm going to split it into two and then come back and finish it tomorrow because there's a few things that needs to get done today. So here we go. The following is a list of statements made many years ago by experts in their fields. At the time they were said, they sounded intelligent. With the passing of time, they sound idiotic. Top 10 all-time stupid quotes. Number 10, there's no reason for any individual to have a computer in their home. That was said by Kenneth Olson, president and founder of Digital Equipment Corporation. 1977. Number 9, airplanes are interesting toys but of no military value. Marshal Ferdinand Foch, French military strategist and future World War I commander, said that in 1911. Man will never reach the moon regardless of all future scientific advances, said by Dr. Lee DeForest, inventor of the audion tube and father of the radio, on February 25th, 1967. Number 7, all-time stupid quote. Television won't be able to hold on to any marketed captures after the first 6 months. People will soon get tired of staring at a plywood box every night. Daryl Zanuck, head of 20th Century Fox, said that in 1946. Number 6, stupid quote. We don't like their sound. Group of guitars are on the way out, said that the Decca Records rejecting the Beatles in 1962. That's what they said. Number 5, for the majority of people, the use of tobacco has a beneficial effect. That was said by a doctor, Dr. Ian McDonald, Los Angeles surgeon, as quoted in Newsweek on November 18th, 1969. Number 4, the telephone has too many shortcomings to be seriously considered as a means of communication. The device is inherently of no value to us. Western Union Internal Memo said that in 1876. The Earth is the center of the universe. That was said by Ptolemy, the great Egyptian astronomer, in the 2nd century. Number 2, nothing of importance happened today, written by King George III of England on July 4th, 1776. Now, I'm in Canada. I'm of Caribbean descent. I don't know all the details about American history, but I believe that could have been their Independence Day. And number 1, everything that can be invented has been invented, and that was said by Charles H. Jewell, U.S. Commissioner of Patents, in 1899. Having read these, let me share with you another list of statements made by real teens just like you. You've heard them before, and they're just as ridiculous as the list above. No one in my family has ever gone to college. I'd be crazy to think I could make it. It's no use. My stepdad and I will never get along. We're just too different. Being smart is a white thing. My teacher is out to get me. She's so pretty. I bet you she's a jerk. You can't get ahead in life unless you know the right people. Me? Thin? Are you kidding? My whole family is full of fat people. It's impossible to get a good job around here because nobody wants to hire a teen. So these are some of the idiotic statements that have been made. And, don't take anything out of context. It's just saying that you don't want to put your stock or your beliefs in those because those are not going to serve you. Those statements or beliefs will not serve you for the better. So, what's a paradigm? What do these two lists of statements have in common? First, they are all perceptions about the way things are. Second, they are all inaccurate or incomplete, even though the people who said them are convinced they're true. Another word for perceptions is paradigms. A paradigm is the way you see something, your point of view, frame or reference, or belief. As you may have noticed, our paradigms are often way off the mark, and as a result, they create limitations. For instance, you may be convinced that you don't have what it takes to get into college. But remember, Ptolemy was just as convinced that the earth was the center of the universe. And think about the teen who believes she can't get along with her stepdad. If that is her paradigm, is she likely to ever get along? Probably not, because that belief will hold her back. Paradigms are like glasses. When you have incomplete paradigms about yourself or life in general, it's like wearing glasses with the wrong prescription, the eyeglasses. That lens affects how you see everything else. As a result, what you see is what you get. If you believe you're dumb, that very belief will make you dumb. If you believe your sister is dumb, you look for evidence to support your belief. Find it, and she'll remain dumb in your eyes. On the other hand, if you believe you're smart, that belief will cast a rosy hue on everything you do. A teen named Christy once shared with me how much she loved the beauty of the mountains. One day she went to visit her eye doctor and to her surprise discovered that her sight was much worse than she had thought. After putting in her new contacts, she was astonished at how well she could see. As she put it, I realized that the mountains and trees and even the signs on the side of the road have more detail than I ever imagined. So she said she loved the mountains. Yeah, she loved the beauty. So now she's seeing even more beauty from a better lens. I didn't know how bad my eyes were. She says, it was the strangest thing. I didn't know how bad my eyes were until I experienced how good they could be. That's often the way it is. We don't know how much we're missing because we have messed up paradigms. We have paradigms about ourselves, about other people, and about life in general. Let's take a look at each. Paradigms of self. Stop right now and consider this question. Are your paradigms of yourself helping or hindering you? When my wife Rebecca was a junior at Madison High School in Idaho, a sign-up sheet for the Miss Madison pageant was passed around in class. Rebecca, along with many other girls, signed up. Linda, who sat next to Rebecca, passed without signing. Sign up, Linda, insisted Rebecca. Oh no, I couldn't do that. Come on, it'll be fun. No, really, I'm not the type. Sure you are. I think you'd be great, chimed Rebecca. Rebecca and others continued to encourage Linda until she finally signed. Rebecca didn't think anything of the situation at the time. However, 7 years later, she received a letter from Linda describing the inner struggle she had gone through that day and thanking Rebecca for being the spark that helped her change her life. Linda related how she suffered from a poor self-image in high school and was shocked that Rebecca would consider her a candidate for a talent pageant. She had finally agreed to sign up just to get Rebecca and the others off her back. Linda said she was so uncomfortable about being in the pageant that she contacted the pageant director the following day and demanded her name be removed from the list. But like Rebecca, the director insisted that Linda participate. Reluctantly, Linda agreed. But that was all it took. By daring to participate in an event that demanded the best of her, Linda began to see herself in a new light. In her letter, Linda thanked Rebecca from deep within for, in a sense, taking off her warped glasses, shattering them against the floor, and insisting she try on a new pair. Linda noted that although she hadn't won a single title or award, she had overcome an even bigger obstacle: her low perception of herself. Because of her example, her two younger sisters participated in the pageant in later years. It became a big thing in her family. The following year, Linda became a student body officer and, as Rebecca relates, developed a vivacious and outgoing personality. Linda experienced what is called a paradigm shift. It means that you suddenly see things in a new way, as if you just tried on a new pair of glasses. Just as negative paradigms can put limitations on us, positive paradigms can bring out the best in us, as the following story about the son of King Louis the 16th of France illustrate. King Louis had been taken from his throne and imprisoned. His young son, the prince, was taken by those who dethroned the king. They thought that inasmuch as the king's son was heir to the throne, if they could destroy him morally, he would never realize the great grand destiny that life had bestowed upon him. They took him to a community far away, and they exposed the lad to every filthy and vile thing that life could offer. They exposed him to foods, the richness of which would quickly make him a slave to appetite. They used vile language around him constantly. They exposed him to lewd and lusting women. They exposed him to dishonor and distrust. He was surrounded 24 hours a day by everything that could drag the soul of a man as low as one could slip. For every 6 months, he had this treatment. For over 6 months, he had this treatment, but not once did the young lad buckle under pressure. Finally, after intensive temptation, they questioned him. Why had he not submitted himself to these things? Why had he not partaken? These things would provide pleasure, satisfy lusts, and were desirable. They were all his. The boy said, I cannot do what you ask for. I was born to be a king. So he within himself had certain codes of conduct that he wanted to live up to. So that's the picture, and that's the image he held of himself, that boy. Prince Louis held that paradigm of himself so tightly that nothing could shake him. In like manner, if you walk through life wearing glasses that say, I can do it, or I matter, that belief will put a positive spin on everything else. At this point, you may be wondering, if my paradigm of myself is all contorted, what can I do to fix it? One way is to spend time with someone who believes in you and builds you up. My mother was such a person to me. When I was growing up, my mom always believed in me, especially when I doubted myself. She was always saying stuff like, Sean, of course you should run for class president. And ask her out. I'm sure she would just die to go out with you. Whenever I needed to be affirmed, I talked to my mom and she'd clean my glasses. Ask any successful person, and most will tell you that they had a person who believed in them: a teacher, a friend, a parent, a guardian, a sister, a grandmother. It only takes one person, and it doesn't really matter who it is. Don't be afraid to lean on this person and to get nourished by them. Go to them for advice. Try to see yourself the way they see you. Oh, what a difference a new pair of glasses can make. As someone once said, if you could envision the type of person God intended you to be, you would rise up and never be the same again. At times, you may not have anyone to lean on and may go solo. If this is the case with you, pay special attention to the next chapter, which will give some handy tools to help build your self-image. Paradigms of others. We have paradigms not only about ourselves, but also about other people, and they can be way out of whack too. Seeing things from a different point of view can help us understand why other people act the way they do. Becky told me about her paradigm shift. As a junior in high school, I had a friend named Kim. She was essentially a nice person, but as the years progressed, it became more and more difficult to get along with her. She was easily offended and often felt left out. She was moody and difficult to be around. It got to the point where my friends and I started calling her less and less. Eventually, we stopped inviting her to things. I was gone for a good part of the summer after that year, and when I returned, I was talking to a good friend of mine, catching up on all the news. She was telling me about all the gossip, the different romances, who was dating who, and so on, when suddenly she said, "Oh, did I tell you about Kim? She's been having a hard time lately because her parents are going through a really messy divorce. She's taking it really hard." When I heard this, my whole perspective changed. Rather than being annoyed by Kim's behavior, I felt terrible about my own. I felt I had deserted her in her time of need. Just by knowing that one little bit of information, my whole attitude toward her changed. It was really an eye-opening experience. And to think that all it took to change Becky's paradigm was a smidgen of new information. We too often judge people without having all the facts. Monica had a similar experience. I used to live in California where I had a lot of good friends. I didn't care about anybody new because I already had my friends, and I thought that new people should deal with it in their own way. Then when I moved, I was the new kid and wished that someone would care about me and make me part of their group of friends. I see things in a very different way now. I know what it feels like to not have any friends. From now on, Monica will treat new kids on the block very differently, don't you think? Seeing things from another point of view can make such a difference in our attitude towards others. Gotta show you this. Yeah. Oh wow, paradigm shift. So you're no longer, the chick is no longer in the egg, came out. It's like, oh, look at the world now. So, the following anecdote from Reader's Digest, contributed by Dan Grayling, is a classic example of a paradigm shift. A friend of mine, returning to South Africa from a long stay in Europe, found herself with some time to spare at London Heathrow's airport. Buying a cup of coffee and a small package of cookies, she staggered, laden with luggage, to an unoccupied table. She was reading the morning paper when she became aware of someone rustling at her table. From behind her paper, she was flabbergasted to see a neatly dressed young man helping himself to her cookies. She did not want to make a scene, so she leaned across and took a cookie herself. A minute or so passed, more rustling. He was helping herself to another cookie. By the time they were down to the last cookie in the package, she was very angry but still could not bring herself to say anything. Then the young man broke the cookie in two, pushed half across to her, ate the other half, and left. Some time later, when the public address system called for her to present her ticket, she was still fuming. Imagine her embarrassment when she opened her handbag and was confronted by her package of cookies. She had been eating his. Wow. Consider this lady's feelings towards the neatly dressed young man before the turn of events. What a rude, presumptive young man. Imagine her feelings after. How embarrassing. How kind of him to share his last cookie with me. So what's the point? It's simply this. Our paradigms are often incomplete, inaccurate, or completely messed up. Therefore, we shouldn't be so quick to judge, label, or form rigid opinions of others or ourselves for that matter. From our limited points of view, we seldom see the whole picture or have all the facts. In addition, We should open our minds and hearts to new information, ideas, and points of view, and be willing to change our paradigms when it becomes clear that they're wrong. Most important, it is obvious that if we want to make big changes in our lives, the key is to change our paradigms, or the glasses through which we see the world. Change the lens, and everything else follows. If you look closely, you'll find that most of your problems with relationships, self image, attitude are the result of a messed up paradigm or two. For instance, if you have a poor relationship with, say, your dad, it's likely that both of you have a warped paradigm of each other. You may see him as being totally out of touch with the modern world, and he may see you as spoiled, ungrateful, as a spoiled, ungrateful brat. In reality, both of your paradigms are probably incomplete and are holding you back from real communication. As you'll see, this book will challenge many of your paradigms and hopefully will help you create more accurate and complete ones. So, get ready. So, we're going to continue in another session on paradigms of life. Thank you for tuning in. If you want to follow through with the reading continuously, I do have a YouTube channel, and the handle is at Menacole O'Sullivan Transforms. So first, last name without the apostrophe, transforms. Have a great day. We will talk soon, and sending you lots of love. Take care.